Now it's my pleasure to call upon our member, Mark Goldberg, to introduce our speaker for this evening.
Thank you, Rabbi. I asked the secretary of our speaker, Kim Ogg, to send me a resume, and I was looking it over, and I said, wait a minute, I don't need to read this. I've known her throughout the years. We were both born in Houston. We both went to law school at the same time at South Texas College of Law. Afterwards, she became a prosecutor. I became a criminal defense attorney. I ran into her many times. Later, when I went to city council, Mayor Bob Lanier plucked her out of the DA's office and made her the first director of the gang task force. At the time, Houston had a big gang problem, and she came in and almost single-handedly solved that. Then we both went to work. I went privately later on after she served with the Crime Stoppers. She was the director of Crime Stoppers for a while, and then she was the managing partner of her family law firm. Then she got elected to district attorney, and I said, why stop now? And so I applied with the DA's office, and now I work for Kim Ogg in the Environmental Crimes Division. She is the top law enforcement official in Harris County. Her priorities are to stop the release of repeat violent offenders on bail, reduce the criminal case backlog through targeted prosecution of Houston's most violent criminals, and she has a great diversion program for nonviolent, low-level offenders, and she has started so many different programs to keep people out of jail. She wants to help people clean up any kind of criminal record they have so they can get a job. She says the best way to fight crime is with a job. So I'd like you to welcome the Harris County District Attorney and my boss, Kim Ogg.
Well, thank you, Mark. He is much more than just an employee. He is a lifelong friend. Rabbis, thank you so very much for the privilege of speaking to the congregants tonight. It's been a pleasure to worship with you. I'm a practicing Episcopalian. We need better music. That's all I can say. We need a lot better music. Listen, I'm not going to take a lot of time, but I am here to share a message of hope. We are a large urban area and have a crime problem, and violence is high, and the streets are dangerous, and you do need to be aware and careful. But there is hope because we are Houstonians, and we do know how to fix problems. We are good at coming together on issues that we can agree on, and I think protection from violent offenders is something we can agree on. Diversion of people who violate the law but who we want to maintain in the workforce is part of the solution. So I come to you tonight just to bring you the word about what's happening in your city and your county. As your district attorney, I am your top law enforcement official. I am also an officer of the court. Our mission is to make our community safer through evidence-based prosecution and equal justice for all. And I want to hit on that just for a minute. Evidence-based means we either have the evidence or we don't. I do want to remind you that the district attorney is not a first responder. We have about 850 people who work for us. About 375 of them, like Mark Goldberg, are prosecutors. But we are a large public law firm, but a small army when it comes to the problems of 5 million people, especially the criminal problems. We support 86 different law enforcement agencies who make the cases. These are the first responders, and they are our heroes. When I talk about equal justice, however, that means everyone, regardless of pocketbook, regardless of power, regardless of uniform. So we apply the law equally. These are the goals. Basically, fairness, justice, and safety, much like I just heard in the worship service. So I think that we have much in common in what we are trying to achieve, which is to live together in peace. So What are we doing about that, and what can I do? I cannot respond to your crimes, but I can respond to you. And so if you call the police, because this is where it starts, a crime happens, you call, get a case number. Once you have that case number, if you are confused about what is going on, if you are angry about what is going on, if you want to have questions answered about your case, you have a direct connection. Thankfully, Rabbi Morgan agreed to sit on what we call a faith council. I pulled that together because we need God's help to fight our crime problem, to solve our problems here on earth. And I needed the wisdom and counsel of a group of people smarter and closer to God. And so thank you, Rabbi Morgan, for that service. I needed him, and he has delivered. He is your conduit to us. Get your case number, give it to the rabbi or his assistants, and we will get back to you with an answer to your question. But without that case number, if the police tell you you don't need it, they're wrong. You do. So we are a group that works on a process in criminal justice, much like an assembly line at a factory. Police make the cases. They gather the evidence. If they don't have enough, we send them back for more. So it's a process, but we review them. And then the courts and the judges review our work. And the juries, you, the people of Harris County, are the ultimate judge. So the second part of our mission statement says, justice is accomplished through ensuring a fair process to achieve a just result for the victim, the accused, and the community in every case. And I say that it is achieved through a fair process because we do not control the results of each case. Actually, the community does, whether it is a grand jury, a trial jury, or even a judge elected by the people. And so we present our cases, but actually in our democracy and in our system, you have the power. Please remember that. Now, what are we doing to stop violent crime? There's a couple of things. We can do what we can do. So I created a homicide division because there are many families suffering in Harris County, and their cases are not being tried very quickly. So I pulled together a group of very experienced people, created a homicide division, and their sole directive is go finalize those cases. It can be done through trial, plea, or dismissal. But I want the suffering of the families waiting for justice to end sooner. I don't control the schedule, judges do, but I can control the lawyers to push the cases, and I can ensure their readiness for trial. Next, we have a lot of guns in Texas and in Houston, and many times our criminals break into your cars and your homes to steal the guns that they then use against us. So, to that end, I went to a city council member, we went to some of the law enforcement agencies, and we purchased safes, simple little car safes to lock your gun if you carry, and you are legally entitled to do so when you leave your car. Do not leave it in the glove compartment. Do not leave it under the seat. Put it in a free safe that you can get from our office. The program was so successful in giving them away, Academy ran out. That is good news. This shows we can do it. So we will catch the crooks. We will prosecute the crooks, but if they get out on bail, all I'm saying is protect yourselves. Let's do what we can do. Secure your gun. It is also to prevent the deaths of children, accessing weapons that they have no business being in proximity to if it's not secured properly. And finally, I want to tell you, diversion is important. Conviction is not the only answer. For violent criminals, from our perspective, separation is best. And the faster we engage in that process, the faster we can determine if there is sufficient evidence for guilt. If there's not, we dismiss. And if we can't reach an agreement, and many times in these very violent cases where people are facing many years, we try the cases. There is no agreement. A young person is not going to agree to serve 50 years, and we're not going to agree to let him serve less. And so that is why we go to trial and when we go to trial. But for many other people, thousands. We have a drug treatment court. We have ways of paying back our community through community service and then leaving the person without a permanent criminal record. And we do this in marijuana cases, we do it in misdemeanor criminal mischief cases, we do it in cases where there's not permanent damage to a human being. And even in some of those cases, we get restitution. We've collected about $50 million for victims of property crimes or to repay people for uninsured medical expenses. This is a way we try to make people whole. We cannot erase the crime, we cannot bring anyone back, but we can separate dangerous people from the rest of us, and we can give people who have made a mistake a second and sometimes third chance. I want you to know that the District Attorney's Office is not your only answer to the criminal problem that we have, but we want to be of great service. And the 375 lawyers that are employed at my office, the largest public law firm in Harris County, I want you to know how hard they work for you. They work the regular day shift. We've brought them in to reduce the backlog of our cases, which keeps dangerous people out on the streets longer and maybe innocent people in jail longer. And they work nights, they work weekends, and they are trying their very, very best to protect you. So patience, some grace, and respect for my employees is really desired by me because I know how hard they work. And I have several of them here who are members of this congregation. In addition to Mark Goldberg, Arlene Heck is here. Would the other employees at the District Attorney's Office please be recognized? I know that, thank you. These are not just my employees, they're our friends. And all of us are here for a safer community. So it's really quite humbling to be in a place of worship where I am not as familiar with the traditions, but I am absolutely committed in spirit to peace and to justice. And I want you all to know that you have a friend in Kim Ogg, the Harris County District Attorney, that's me, in every assistant district attorney that comes to work for us, and it's not for the money or the glamour. It is because they truly desire to serve you and to help keep you safe. And that with these programs, there's hope. One last story. There's a few other members of your congregation that I have known for many years, and that's David and Debbie Schwartz. And I met them because their son was murdered. I was running Crime Stoppers. We probably did 5 or 6 or 7 press conferences over the years to try and capture a known murderer of their son. He was on the lam for 20 years from this country and other countries. But just as we are promised justice, it was delivered. After about 20 years, he was captured, he was tried, he was convicted. And I've searched for a word about what this does for victims all my life. It is not closure, and it is not really peace, but it is resolution. And I see in the faces of the crime victims that I talk to that when their case is over, resolution does help. And that's what we're here to do. So while it's not a perfect system, it's our system. You are, as Americans and as Harris County residents, you are owners of this system. We work for you. And that's why I'm here tonight. I'll be available to answer any questions that you have. And again, it's been a tremendous and humbling honor to speak in front of you. Thank you.
So I know you may be familiar with the words from what you would call the 5 books of Moses. We call the Torah, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdov. Justice, justice shall you pursue. And the rabbis asked, why is the word tzedek repeated? Why can't it just say justice shall you pursue? Why justice, justice shall you pursue? And the rabbis give a lot of great answers, but one of my favorite answers is it's a reminder to us that all of us have to work above and beyond to pursue justice. It should be what drives all of us every day, no matter what we do, no matter what role we play in society. And so we thank you for all the justice you and your office are pursuing to keep us all safe and to bring justice to people that deserve it. And please know you're always welcome here at Beth Yeshurun, and we thank you for all that you're doing. And if you have any jury duty exemptions, we're always happy to take them here at Congregation Beth Yeshurun. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Again, let's welcome our guest, and thank